Hey you guys, Matt Allen here. Welcome back to Tactical Bassin'. Today we're talking about my top 5 baits for bass fishing in the month of July. July is the peak of summer bass fishing. The bass's metabolisms are at their highest. The water temperatures are warm, fish are active, they're aggressive, but that true baking summer heat hasn't set in yet completely, and things are just about as good as they're going to get. There are a lot of different ways that you can catch them. You can catch them fishing slow, you can catch them fishing fast. You can catch them on top, you can catch them in deep water. So many great ways to target fish in July. Today, I said 5, it's actually 6 categories. I'm sure you saw that coming by now. I've got 6 categories of baits that are going to help you be way more effective on the water as we head into July. I'm gonna start out with the 2 slow moving categories. Bottom contact fishing methods, and then we've got 4 other categories for you that we'll wrap it up with. The first one is a jig. A jig is incredibly effective in summer. That can be flipping heavy cover, that can be dragging out on offshore rock, and it can be everywhere in between, but the jig is such an effective way to catch them. If I could only have one jig, there is no question, flat out, that's a Dirty Jigs 1/2 ounce pitching jig. I have both of those paired to the NetBait Bait Fuel 4-inch Paca Slim. That craw is such a great pairing for this bait. It's a great profile, it's a great look, and it's got great action. Now, the only real decision that you have to make is what kind of fishery you're in. If your water is dark, it's stained, it's murky, I lean towards the black blue, specifically hematoma, a very natural black and blue jig. It's not that bold, bright black and blue. Hematoma is a personal confidence color of mine. And then I pair that up to that beautiful trailer right there, which is just a fish catcher. I catch a lot of big fish on that trailer. That pairing is amazing in that stained, muddy, off-colored water. If you're on a fishery that's a little clearer, you like those natural colors, same exact bait, but completely different colors. This color is called the go-to, and it truly is my go-to color. So much confidence in that. Paired up to the tilapia color, which is a green pumpkin base with some gold and some blue and some purple flake in it. Just an amazing natural profile there. But 1/2 ounce pitching jig, 4-inch Paca Slim, and you just choose your color based on the water in your lake. Now, with all of these categories, I'm going to link the specific baits in the video description. I'll link them in the order that I'm talking about them. If you're watching this on YouTube, you might need to click the 3 little dots to open it up. You might hit more, scroll down, hit more again. If you're watching this on Facebook, just scroll down. You might need to click the link to go to the full list. If you're watching this on tacticalbassin.com, just scroll down, it's all right there. But no matter where you're seeing this video, below the video in the description is a full list. We'll give you the baits, the colors, the trailer color, all that stuff to make it as simple as possible for you. The other slow fishing category, bottom fishing category, is going to be a shaky head. The shaky head is so effective. Now, one thing I will say in the summertime is that when I'm throwing a shaky head, I want purple in the mix. That can be straight up June bug. That's my favorite color, personally. My absolute favorite summertime color is a June bug worm. That bright purple worm with that green flake. If you want to soften it up a little, Bama bug, which is half June bug, half green pumpkin black flake. But here's something for you that I've really been playing with this year. This is one of my standard setups right here. Tim and I throw this all the time. This is the net bait T-Mac worm. That's our favorite shaky head worm through the years. So much confidence in that. So many big fish caught on it. And I've got that paired up to that Dirty Jigs stand-up finesse head. That's what you see there. But something that I have been playing with this year specifically is I've run into some conditions where my water was a little clearer and my fish were just a little more shy than they seemed to be in years past. Maybe you're running into that too. Fish have got a lot of pressure. They're just getting tougher to catch for whatever reason. So I've been going back and forth myself. So this is the T-Mac with the stand-up finesse. I'm throwing that on a bait caster. I'm throwing that on braid to a 10 to 12 pound leader. When the fish get a little weird on me, I've been switching over to this one. This is the X-Zone Deception Worm. Oh, I grabbed the wrong worm. That's not the Deception Worm. That's their fat worm. That's okay. For the sake of what I want to show you, we'll make the comparison here. But this is the fat finesse worm, not the Deception Worm. I will link the correct one. The Deception Worm is just a little narrower. This is the Missile Baits Warlock head. Okay, and I like, personally, if I'm throwing like a green pumpkin worm, I use a green head. If I'm throwing June bug or any dark color, I throw the black head. I have a ton of confidence in that. So let me put this one on here. Again, this is the fat finesse, not the Deception. I just grabbed the wrong pack, but it's still going to let me show you the difference in overall profile. Look how much smaller the worm is, and keep in mind, the worm I intended to show you is even thinner. But even more importantly, look how much smaller the hooks are in comparison. Hopefully you can see that. I'm throwing this one on a spinning rod with 8 to 10 pound line. Much lighter line, much lighter hook, slightly smaller worm, and I'm getting bit in more situations. Now, if I'm around big ones, that's the hook I want to plant in them. So every single time I've done this, I have both tied on, and that's why I'm showing you both. Again, my personal favorite is June bug. Typically, both of these will be the June bug color. But if you want to soften it up a little bit, that's a great way to do it. But I'll have both of these tied on. I'm going back and forth between them, trying to figure out which one is the right one for that day. But that will absolutely help you get more bites, and that will help you land your giants. Both are great options all through the month of July and the rest of the summer. All right, next one up. One of my favorites, and we talk about this a lot this time of year. It's that swinging jig head. That particular bait is the Adrenaline Craw. That is such a fish catcher. Now, this is not a slow moving bottom contact bait. Yes, it is a craw or creature type profile, but this is not dragging on the bottom. Think crankbait, spinnerbait, chatterbait. That's how we're fishing this. Throw it out, let it hit the bottom, and then wind it and just let it bounce along the bottom. Steady retrieve, and as it's banging into things, that bait is just back there walking through that cover, and those tails are kicking, and that overall package is more than those fish can resist. May, June, July, every year I catch giants on this. I say it all the time. This year was no exception. I caught some absolute monsters on this exact setup. Color-wise, if I'm fishing for big ones, it's June bug, just like with the shaky head worm. June bug is my confidence. June bug or dark June bug, either one, they're almost interchangeable. Both are great colors. But if I'm trying to get numbers, if you're out there and you just want to catch fish, throw the same thing, but throw it in a more natural color, either green pumpkin or tilapia. Tilapia is an amazing color as well, but you will get more bites here you'll get bigger bites here. 3 down. We're halfway there. We're going quick on this one. These are in no particular order. Next up, let's talk swim baits. Big swim baits, little swim baits. Swim baits are effective this time of year. They just are. Let's start with the little guy, the underspin. This is our tactical underspin. Specifically, I have it paired up to the 3.5 inch Storm Largo shad. That specific swim bait crushes in the summertime if your bass are around shad. If your lake has shad in it, the Largo shad does an amazing job of imitating their profile, that taller, fatter profile, as well as the way that they swim. It's just an incredibly effective bait. With that blade on it, again, if they're around shad, that blade helps convert in a major way. You will catch more fish with it than without. That said, we're getting into the time of year where sometimes those shad have pulled offshore, the bass are no longer on the shad, and that's where that bare swim bait head comes back into play. This is the tactical screwed up swim bait head. For years, we've thrown my head, the Matt Allen head. I'll probably link both of them for you in the description. The Matt Allen head has a standard keeper. The screwed up swim bait head is an oversized screw lock, but both work very effectively. I have this paired up to the 4.75 Swammer. I love to just cover water with that this time of year. And if you get a big bite, that hook is going to crack them. I mean, you can hit them as hard as you want, as hard as you want to hit them. And then last but not least, from Bull Shad, this is the burrito. This is the 5-inch burrito, not the 6-inch. All through early summer, that 5-inch is my bread and butter. I love this bait. This is our tactical chartreuse shad color, the tactical gizzard shad, tactical shad. Those 3 colors are amazing. But that tactical chartreuse shad, I destroy with this color on the Tennessee River this time of year. It just catches them. But again, that 5-inch has been my confidence. Got a big old gust of wind. It's turning the boat here. All right, we've got 2 more. Let's talk crankbaits, all right? When it comes to crankbaits this time of year, my theory is aggressive is better. There's a handful of baits that I'll use. You know, from Azuma, the Z-Boss series, the Rapala DT20, from Nomad, the D-Track 65. We'll also throw our tactical crank, but we want really aggressive baits in really aggressive, obnoxious colors. Color is a major deal here. This is about as neutral as I will go. You're gonna see me spend a lot more time with that bright, bold white chartreuse line, all the way up to the full-blown chartreuse blue, citrus shad, actual chartreuse blue, chartreuse purple, those bright, bold colors. Again, the bass's metabolisms are at an all-time high. They're willing to chase. So I want a color that they see coming and they can get after it to catch up to that thing. Those brightest, boldest colors get my biggest bites. Much like Junebug gets my biggest bites on bottom, for whatever reason, chartreuse and chartreuse blue get my biggest bites with the crankbait this time of year. And again, there's a handful of crankbaits that I rely on, and it's more about depth range than anything. Like those big Azumas, I really like both the 22 and the 24. That's great dive depth. You know, the Rapala, the DT20, that's getting way down there. That D-Track 65 isn't going quite as deep, and a lot of times you don't need to go that deep. That's a better bait. That one's super loud too. It will really call those fish. We want a lot of ruckus, a lot of commotion, and bold colors are key this time of year. And then last but not least is topwater. Topwater, there's gonna be a little bit of a split here. It comes down to your lake. What do you have going on in your lake? Is your lake a shallow fishery with a lot of grass where you need to be weedless? Or is it more of a reservoir type lake, open water, where we can get away with some treble hooks? If you can get away with treble hooks, it's a walking bait. From Megabass, this is the Giant Dog X. From Evergreen, this is the Shower Blows, the SB 105. These are an amazing 1-2 punch. They're very, very different. The Shower Blows is remarkable for covering water and calling fish, especially with a heavy chop on the water like what I have out there in the background. Waves coming by, good chop, they will hunt that Shower Blows. But when the water slicks off, like what I've got right here around the boat, that really still, calm water, you're not going to be able to touch that Giant Dog X. That bait will convert fish when nothing else will. It's a tighter walk, it's a quieter walk, and it doesn't overpower that calm water. I've actually found with that Giant Dog X that in a lot of situations, I would normally have a walking bait and a popper on deck. Now, I still do a lot. I love poppers. But I find that I can just throw that Giant Dog X in both situations because it's not overpowering. So say I think there's one up against the dock, I don't switch and grab my popper. I just throw the Giant Dog X up there and I'm just subtle with my walk and I'm converting a lot of those fish. So I've got one bait tied on instead of 2 rods set up ready to rock all the time. And that's been really nice. Now, if you've got more grass in your fishery, let's talk about these two. Okay, from Jackal, we've got the Kiara, one of our absolute favorite frogs. The Kiara is a downsized profile. You can get away with throwing it on a little bit lighter rod. You can throw it on lighter braid. I throw it on 50-pound a lot, even around big bass. And you could probably go lighter than that, truthfully, because the hooks aren't that big, but that bait is so effective. If your fish have been pressured, maybe they're short striking, you're getting blowups, but you're not getting them, the Kiara does an amazing job of catching those fish. And then from Savage Gear, we've got the DC Walker. The deal here is this is the most effective frog I have found for the really thick stuff. Truly matted vegetation, throwing back in the junk, back in the reeds, that stuff where you really can't have an exposed hook point or you're just gonna get stuck either in the slop or in the reeds and you're just gummed up all the time. That frog right there, those hooks lay so perfectly. Look, I'm just gonna run my finger over them over and over again and I'm not getting hooked. But when I push, they get me every time. So they're truly weedless. And that is a big deal. It's hard to find a frog that's truly weedless and still has a good hookup ratio. That's a hard balance. And that has been the best one I've found. Found that probably 5 or 6 years ago. And I don't throw it every day because I don't always have cover that's so thick I need to throw it. But when I get into those heavy cover situations, lily pads, big pad fields, it's perfect for that situation. And with that, we wrap up our 6 categories. Now in the video description, again, I'll link all this. I'll link it in the order we talked about it. And for every bait, doesn't matter which one it is, I will give you Tim and I's personal favorite colors. That way, if you want to try one of these things, you know exactly what we would be throwing, and then you can go from there to build your own fishing confidence. I hope this helps you. July is an amazing time to be on the water. Get out there, have a blast. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk to you soon.